Baymax is not hailing anyone anymore. He's building something dangerous. And Scooby, he stopped saying Scooby. No, he just growled. Today, your childhood favorites are back, but this isn't nostalgia. This is nightmare fuel. First, Baby Boss. Alright, so I start with Baby Boss, striking a pretty cool pose. First thing I do, I cover his eyes with the claws. Then I use a few black strokes to create folds and creases, so it actually feels like real fabric. And that's where the creepy part begins. I tap in some red paint on top of the cloth. It looks like something happened to his eyes. Or maybe this baby isn't so innocent anymore? Maybe he's possessed? I add more red, this time dripping down his cheeks. Almost like blood seeping through the cloth. Looks decent so far, but I'll check the color later for better balance. Let me add a few more red touches up top, just to hint at how deep this thing goes. Now I lower the opacity a bit. Yeah, that looks better. His suit's way too clean though, so I smear some more red on the clothes. Each stain tells a dark little story about this baby's twisted past. Then I'll bring in a golden chain, wrap it around his neck, clean up the extra bits. And right here, I attach Jimbo's head to the chain, as if Jimbo got shrunk down and the chain's going through his skull. Creepy, right? But look at the baby boss's mouth. Looks like he's drinking milk. Let's give him a snake tongue right here. Like he's not even human anymore. Something seriously messed up happened to this kid. To make the whole thing feel more 3D and lifelike, I start brushing in shadows around the character. A few soft wrinkles on the clothes. And boom, it's looking way more realistic. I also add the shadow of the chain falling on the clothes. And yeah, don't forget the shadow of the Jimbo's head. Look closely at his eyes. You can tell something horrible happened. Let's black out his eyes completely, like he's been possessed. And a few red smears across his face. Yeah, that seals it. Now it's your turn, guys. Drop a title for this movie in the comments. I'm calling it Baby Boss, The Devil Returns. For the background, I'm bringing a red metallic wall. Something dark, gritty, industrial. Then I dim the overall lighting, but add a spotlight to highlight his face and parts of his body to keep the focus on him. And finally, the logo. I draw a sharp line across the middle, symbolizing his lost eyesight. Then slap a label on it. Baby Boss, The Devil Returns. Now playing in theaters worldwide. Baymax is not the changing hairstyle robot you remember anymore. Something dark is going on. Let's bring our two favorite bodies into the scene. Then add a soft fabric texture over Baymax just to make him pop a little more. But now comes the creepy part. I add monster's mouth full of very sharp teeth right on his face. That's when the friendly vibe ends and the nightmare begins. I splash some red tones around his mouth. And a little extra across his body too. Oh, and under his eyes, a few more retouches. Not blood, of course, probably just oil. You know, robot problems. Then I drop in some shadows on his face and body. Makes the whole thing feel more 3D and more real. I even add subtle shadows from Hero's legs and shoes falling on Baymax's body. Cause tiny details like that, that's where the magic happens. Now let's switch to Hiro Hamada. I black out his eyes completely. Then I give him extra eyes. You know, like those creepy insects too many. Yeah, he's not our innocent little inventor anymore. I throw in shadows across his clothes and body. Make his shoes look worn and dirty. Adds that gritty, something's not right energy. Then comes the red, smears on his shoes. Splashes on his outfit. What happened to Hiro and Baymax? Why do they look like monsters now? I even add red around Hiro's mouth. What's he been eating? Don't tell me Hiro's a vampire now. For the background, I set up a rusty metal wall, dim the lighting, just a faint, creepy glow. Add a red light from above, like some emergency warning is still flickering. And yeah, I let that red light reflect off their bodies. Just a few highlights here and there to make the lighting feel real. Drop that saturation a bit for that perfect eerie balance. Wait, something's missing. Right, this sharp little tool. Let's put that in Hero's hand, whatever he's doing with it. I don't wanna know. And finally, the original big Hero logo, but with some added label. It looks like this one's dropping on Netflix. Two old friends, no, creatures of the night. The new big hero you never saw coming. Scooby is possessed today, and he's not sparing anyone. Let's start things off with Scooby himself. I begin by adding a few red touches on his head, face, and body, just enough to let you know something spooky is about to go down. Then I place Shaggy's third hand right in Scooby's mouth. Yeah, you probably get the idea now. It's about to get dark. I clean up the extra parts and drop in some shadows on the hand just to make it feel less flat and more real. Then I splash a bit of red on Shaggy's hand too. Looks way better this way. Creepy but better. For the background, I'm thinking a rusty metal wall and some green grass ground. I carve out a section in the wall for a door. At first I black it out, then I switch the color to red and lay it out over the front grass area. Behind that, bright blue sky. But don't get too attached, it's not staying blue for long. I dim overall lighting and shift both the sky and the grass to deep red tones, like a glowing red light is beaming from the doorway into the scene. Now it's time for possessed Scooby. I make his eyes pure white. Then I add some subtle shadows under his eyes to give him that eerie 3D feel. No more cartoonish flatness here. I shrink them down a bit and place him right in front of the door. Since the light's coming from behind him, I lower his brightness, backlit drama. Then I highlight the parts of him facing the door, the parts that would catch that creepy red light. Yep, all those highlights gotta be blocked red. Now onto Scooby's shadow on the ground. Right under his paws, it's completely dark. Then it fades out softly toward the front. I also add some glowing red highlights around the doorway frame, so everything flows together with the same spooky rhythm. And finally, the classic Scooby-Doo logo, but with a horror twist. Possessed Scooby, a terrifying tale. This weekend, Possessed Scooby is coming to haunt your home. Thanks guys for your support, and you can watch me other designs here. And be sure to subscribe.